What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you, Tony Stewart Sprint Car Series Season 1, Race 3. Taking the week's literal, though. This is week 6 for the All-Star Circuit of Champions. We're headed out to Wisconsin, Kenyon County, a low-banked third mile. And this is a track I was actually excited to get to. Obviously, we haven't really done anything with our car as far as performance upgrades are concerned other than the suspension and tires. So I was looking forward to a low bank track to come out and be successful at. Now, ironically, in other forms of racing like stock car racing, I hate flat tracks. So kind of one of the very few times I've looked at like a Loudon-esque or a New Hampshire-esque track and genuinely been excited to go there because I felt like I would have a better performance. As far as the graphics on this track, this is a really cool environment. I don't know who would put a racetrack like this in the middle of a cornfield, but it definitely gives you that farmland, Wisconsin, Indiana, Central America vibe to it. So they did a really good job at least distinguishing this track as far as everything in terms of textures and the environment around it. The first lap here, you can see easily make the goal by 3/10 that I needed to. And I could tell right away, going out and running these laps that this was going to be a race where I would be more than competitive than. So I was really actually excited to turn an extra lap here and see what we could run, but also to qualify. If you're new to the series, qualifying has kind of been my Achilles heel, but going out and running the fast lap right away, I figured, hey, maybe there was something here. So you guys know I always get these cars about as loose as I can off the default setups. I'm not going to sit here and build a setup for a track like this. It's just a little bit ridiculous. But go out in qualifying, and I'm a little bit surprised. Again, I've talked about this every video. I'm going to continue to talk about this. The lighting and the shading in the evening is great, but they really have to start to differentiate the tracks here in terms of when it's wet, when it's packed, when it's dry, when it's slick. Because it's all schematics outside of that. Like, don't just give me a game that don't give me a track that visually looks different if it's not going to handle different. So the first lap here, I kind of felt I threw away at a 14:39. So I was really shocked when the second lap didn't seem a lot faster, especially when you come down here. I actually catch air off the front wheels, first time that it happened, but again, on a flat track, I expected that. And then that looked like a 14:7, so I actually probably lost a little bit on that second lap, which is probably the first time I think I've lost speed on the second lap, but easily met the goal and get to head off into the second heat. I think before I was like in the third and fourth heats. So it was really nice to get into the second heat and feel like I had an opportunity to still run up front, but also obviously be more competitive because I've outpaced about 10 cars. So as you can see here, we start to get going, and they actually took the time. If you've ever been out in central U.S., the sky is clear in the farmland. They actually took the time to clear the sky. I get really squirrely there after I make contact. This game is fair with contact, but it's a little bit surprising to me there is no wheel hop. A lot of times when you have an open wheel car like this, you hit somebody square, your wheels will hit each other and the rubber will just throw one car up in the air. And I'm not saying it hasn't or it can't happen in this game. I'm just saying it has not happened to me. That was not the performance I expected, though. From getting into the car right off the beginning to kind of getting offline there on the exit of that second turn. We didn't lose anything, I don't think. I think I started fourth and finished fourth. But I obviously had a concept of moving up. And I'd like to win one of these mains sooner or later. If not, rather win a heat race first. So really mid-pack here. I guess a little worse than mid-pack. 14th out of 25 to get the green here on a 8-lap race, one of the longer races I think I've ran. And initially, we talked about how you should not be able to do some things in this game that you can do, kind of cut down on the inside here. And it's interesting that earlier when I was doing this, I had so much traction, and now I didn't have any of that traction. I was literally pulling a wheelie out of those turns in qualifying and in the heat race, and now it seems like none of that traction is there. So in sliding around like that, I actually cost myself a handful of positions that I earned, and now I'm just really hoping that I can crack a top 10 finish here. Little contact there. It's hard to judge where the contact starts with these cars, but as you can see, I'm still down where I was before, and that horsepower the other cars have there with 10th place just becomes super evident. I can catch him through the turns, but he just, for the most part, starts to pull away, and there it almost seems artificial. It's just such a weird place for someone to pull away from you. It's almost like he jumps like a quarter down the straightaway to start to pull ahead. It's just not natural for a car to be faster. When I pull a slide job on him here, he doesn't have that speed continually down the straightaway. He catches me in the entry of the turn. Now I've completely put him behind me. So it's almost like you feel like there's some rubber band AI here that doesn't make a lot of sense, because the way cars pull away from you and how you catch them just seems so artificial. It reminds me almost of Days of Thunder, the NES game, where if you caught a car in the turn, then you were going to catch it. But if you didn't, and right there, I just wiped that guy out. I mean, that's just bad racing. But if you caught a car in the turn, you know, you would be able to catch it and pass it, but if you didn't, you couldn't. And essentially what happened with that wreck is the car just caught traction, and I've talked about that, the consistency of this game. I'm going on grass and maintaining traction, and yet all of a sudden in the dirt, it just hooks up and goes straight, and there's not much that you can do. I tried to slide up there. I didn't quite get the block, but I'm happy with the 9th place finish, and we will get to move on to week 4. With that said, you guys should know we are going to go through and take a little bit extra money, and I get a smooth driver at the end of this, and I almost finished this video early, but now that you look at my 9th place finish and the results, you know I appreciate you watching this, and I will be back very shortly with more commentary.